You guys are so goofy. Are you gonna hit a countdown?
I'm looking for it.
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Laughing Place proudly presents our spectacular pageant.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Three faded panels. Dig a little deeper. Number 21. And welcome to the Main Street Electrical Parade. Dig a little deeper. The show in which we take something at a Disney park, in this case, a parade called Main Street Electrical Parade. We examine it at this level, and then we dig a little bit deeper. My name is We'll be co-hosting today this episode as we talk about the fabulous Main Street Electrical Parade, everyone's favorite nighttime spectacular. To my left, one of our co-hosts, the lovely, talented, and colorful Rebecca Mosley.
Ah.
Down there, we have from On The Go at MCO, coming to us live from her very comfy-looking bedroom. That would be Shelley.
Everybody.
So cozy.
And over there, our vice president of going to competing theme parks on the Sunday before holiday, Jeremiah.
Hi, guys.
Did you have fun at Busch?
Yeah.
It was what was it? It was like Mardi Gras, right?
Was it
Yes.
Marty?
The taste of Mardi Gras.
Oh,
Yes.
Were you working? Were you working?
Yes.
I thought you just went for fun.
Oh no, there were all kinds of tweets coming out about, ooh, here comes some Mardi Gras fun.
Sorry, I've been working out all morning.
Mardi Gras fun.
All right, so we are here
Lots of
to
purple and green.
dig a little deeper, the show in which we talk
Yeah,
about
we already
something.
said that.
I know, and today
okay.
we're talking about the Main Street Electrical Parade.
Woohoo!
Normally here, I would ask you to like and subscribe and ring the bell, but I've been told it's better to wait and do that later. So don't listen to me do it now. I'm going to mention it later on in the show. All right, Main Street Electrical Parade. Let's start at the start. Jeremiah. So we know the Main Street Electrical Parade, even though it's one of the oldest things that, in terms of Disney, going all the way back to 1972, it's actually, and so many things have spun out of it, it actually spun out of something else. So let's go all the way back to All in the Family and talk about the origins of the Electrical Parade.
Okay, meathead.
Nicely done.
Well done, Jeremiah.
My all in the family knowledge that is not racist. Good job, me.
Pretty much. Okay. Electrical water power. Starting.
So, October 1st, 1971, they decided that they're going to have a kickoff for the Magic Kingdom and the Walt Disney World Resort opening that happened on October 23rd, 1971. I still don't understand that one. And the big hoopla party, they decided they needed something to do, so they stuck a bunch of Christmas lights on floats and pushed them out into the lagoon in front of the Polynesian, and that was the party. But do you know what the music was for the original electric water pageant?
I'm guessing it wasn't Walk the Dinosaur.
No.
It was the Baroque Hoedown?
Correct, which was a song written in 1967. And if you find the original version of it, it does sound very similar to what they continue to bring back every time they need attendance boost for that. And then Card Walker enjoyed it so much that he commissioned them to create the Main Street Electric Parade for Disneyland, which opened in 1972, a year later than, less than a year, because I believe it opened June 17th.
June 17th. Yes, very good. Well done, Jeremiah.
That's also my niece's birthday, so that's probably why it's stuck. Not 1971. That would be, or 72. That'd be scary. I wasn't even born until 74. Never mind. So Hey, I was at Bush all day long. I have lots of Cajun food
Do they,
inside
do they
me.
still have the free beer there, Jeremiah? Is that what's going on here?
You know me. So yeah, 1972, the Main Street Electric Parade debuted at Disneyland. The original Main Street Electric Parade. Oh, and by the way, if not for the electric water pageant, we would not be haunted day and night by the Main Street Electric Parade.
Both of which
original-
somehow still around 50 years later. Go on.
Yep. The original Main Street Electric Parade was actually very similar to the electric water pageant, where it was flat floats, and they just had lights on the floats. And then throughout the years, they continued to evolve and become what we know today as the Main Street Electric Parade.
I have a TIL. TIL, the designer of the original electric parade in terms of the lights and such, same company that would do the famous storefront lights on Michigan Avenue in Chicago.
Ooh, I didn't know that one. Good job.
Yeah. They got way
cool.
behind schedule. And so Imagineering had to finish it in California. And they only got to do one dress rehearsal, which was a complete disaster. And costumes sparking, floats collapsing kind of reminds me of another dress rehearsal about 30, 40 years later. But we're not nowhere near that. You can continue your history lesson, Jeremiah.
Well, do we want to just start going, or do we want to go park by park by park? And
Why don't we go for it? So you mentioned how it was flat in 1972, and it stayed that way till around 1974. But the big change came in 1977. And what happened then? Do you know, Jeremiah?
hang on, I can do this.
You have some terrible notes. But that's when it became basically the electrical parade that we've come to know and love today in terms of its look. 1 year later is when it got the very, very, very famous Ladies and Gentlemen, Boys and Girls. But yes, this was added in 77.
The bacon float.
The bacon float. And the dancing Patriots. So love this part of the parade. The eagle, flapping wings, it's beautiful. And I didn't know this, but the famous Ladies and Gentlemen, Boys and Girls that we've come to know and love with the vocoder, the electric sounding voice, that didn't come until 1978. I always assumed that had always been there.
Well, the original music was done in 72 for the parade. And then I believe it was a few years later when Don Dorsey, is that the proper name?
Yeah.
He actually went through and redid the music, and that is the music that we know today. The original was still the Baroque hoedown, but it wasn't as electrical as we all know and love.
Can you say the opening, Jeremiah? Do you know it by heart?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Disneyland proudly presents a spectacular nighttime pageant of a nighttime, in thousands of sparkling lights and electrosynthetic musical sounds. The Main Street Electrical Parade.
And then people start clapping, but the parade is still like 7 minutes away, and they're still trying to.
I have to say, every time I hear that on like any of the tribute videos or anything like that, I still get really excited. Like, I don't know what it is. I always get jazzed.
Yeah, I know, it's fully understandable. Anyone anywhere near our age group has incredible memories of seeing. In 77, it was added to the Magic Kingdom as well. So wherever park you were going to, anyone in our age group has incredible memories of going to Disneyland, Disney World, and seeing this parade at night. And it was magical for its day. I mean, completely magical. So, yeah, we all get a little teary-eyed when we think of the Electric Parade. Tony, for example, gets teary-eyed because it won't go away for good. But we all get teary-eyed for one reason or another.
That is one of the things I agree with Tony about.
Yeah. Don Dorsey, I think, really, in this magazine, which is from forever ago, Theme Park Adventure, it's actually black and white because it was forever ago. But he, in talking about the music, this quote I thought really kind of summed up why it worked, why I think it worked. Baroque hoedown is an unusual composition in that it relies on the most basic of chord progressions while disguising that simplicity behind a busy but not complex melody, and the melody and sound of it quickly fades into the background when a stronger melody or sonic idea is introduced. And so it works perfectly as an underliner. And I mean, that's one of the things about it is like that minute and 3 seconds or so of that loop,
the main theme.
it just sticks with you so quickly. But yet anytime you introduce other melodies, like the melodies that they use for like the Pinocchio or Pirate
Cinderella.
Ship from Peter Pan or whatever, you can immediately kind of just flow into that one and then back out into the Baroque hoedown. It's just this nice little ebb and flow of that melody.
That's the big part of the magic of this parade, is it did have the underlying theme, and then as each float would approach, that theme would seamlessly meld in, and you would get them together, and then it would go away, and then the next one would come. And a big part of what they did, so this parade was high tech, not only in its visuals, these lights, which, obviously lights take power. These people are dancing and the floats are going all with powered light somehow, but also in the parade itself. It was the original, what we call the first show control program, where each zone of the parade had its own music. And initially it was manually switched as each parade unit got into a new zone. And then, after a while of doing that, the people that were manually switching said, we need to automate this, which is kind of how most of the programs I write get designed. And then it became a computer controlled thing, which Rebecca has more information about.
Dorsey talked about that when he came into the project, there were already 7 zones, and he doesn't know kind of the origin of those 7 zones. And he shared stories of standing atop Main Street with a headset and a stopwatch, and then telling the audio team, okay, cue, time, turn it. And they would literally like turn one knob one way and the other knob the other. He said, I can tell you that to perform a crossfade from one track to another required the manual operator to manually turn one control clockwise while turning the other one counterclockwise. And it wasn't until 1980 that our first computerized system was implemented. And when we were allowed to do that, we bought as many zones as the budget would afford, thinking 21 zones would be more than enough. But no, now that by the time this article was written, it was 95, and they had 32 zones. And I suspect if we were to find out now, we'd find out that they're probably even were able to break it out into even more. But yeah, obviously, if you're dealing with that many zones, well, now you need computer, because that would be an awful lot of hands to simply be responsible for turning sound on and off. So
they made the computers do it,
yep.
And that began. So thus began the AI takeover of the world. So curious, guys, since we've all seen the electrical parade more times than we ever care to count, your favorite unit. So the parade, for those who haven't known, if you haven't seen this parade, shut this off and go watch a video. But each unit, each section, I shouldn't say unit, each section.
But you should like us first.
No, it's still too early. Each section could have at least one unit, sometimes more, and it would usually represent a movie, although there's one that kind of, I guess they all represented a movie. So given that, which section's your favorite?
Well,
Shelley.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the ballroom dancers when they were underneath the canopy.
Mm-hmm.
But a close second place is the sassy turtle with the little, not fedora, but little hat with the little.
The little turtle thingies were definitely a third part of that thing. And little known fact, my wife actually did that for a living for one.
No. They let me have some fun one time. So we got to take a tour of the parade warehouse, and they let us jump in and operate the controls. And yeah.
But yeah, early in the parade were these kind of dealies, the turtles and such, and they were so much fun. Everyone loved these guys. They had their own little music coming from them, and they spun, and they could kind of nod their heads. And
sassy.
Okay. So good choice. Shelley, how about you, Germ?
My favorite is one that a lot of people forget because it didn't exist after it left Disneyland. The Dumbo Circus, where it had the 3 rings and they would do the magic tricks and everything. And then they shipped some of that to Paris. And then when it came back to Disneyland, most of those floats sadly were destroyed. Yes, and then I love the clowns when they'd do that, and then at one point they'd kind of lean over and hit it with their foot, so it looked like they were bouncing it back with their foot.
I love that section. Rebecca?
Pete's Dragon.
Razzle dazzle.
Yeah,
That one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll share another story from here. This was written by Rick, our friend Rick West, and Rick worked at the. Well, no, this is actually from when they were gathering images for this, and he says one of his favorite memories. The parade route was packed with people because this was the year it was, winding down. And they were near the Main Street train station snapping some photos for this magazine. And he says, a family decided that they didn't need to use a crossover, the designated crossing area, and came spilling out onto the parade route right in front of Elliot the dragon. They ran across the street, but the sidewalk was so packed with guests, there was nowhere really for them to go. So they were just kind of there. Meanwhile, Elliot's traveling down the street. So he released, as described here, a hellacious blast of the CO2, and it rained down on them, and it delighted the audience, and they were kind of embarrassed, and then Pete admonished Elliot for his little prank. But come on, I mean, you don't just jump out in front of a parade float. What you expect?
We've got a first here, folks.
Oh no, what?
A Facebook message comment that I can't put on the screen, but Danny, our friend Danny, who I guess is watching, says his favorite section was the Pinocchio's float from the Pleasure Island section. Rest in peace. And he also says Razzle Dazzle, but I love the Pinocchio. I would say that was my favorite section, right? Especially when it had the Lost Boys, because the antics they would pull just cracked me up. But go ahead. Sorry, Jeremiah.
I'm sorry. The Pleasure Island floats made its return in 2017. They brought that back when they brought it back again and again.
Very much, I think.
It's right there.
Here, let me get a.
It's funny because this is my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody else adored. That was my least favorite.
I love this.
Yeah.
But my other favorite, I will take two favorites. Who does not remember the Peter Pan segment? And I'm not a Peter Pan fan, but I love I love that part. So, and the fact that the driver was kind of a character too, and popping the can and all that.
My favorite was the Tinkerbell that used to be on the mast that would circle around until they took her until 02 when it came into DCA, and then they put in that new beginning.
When I used to go to the parks back in '95 when this was still in its heyday, one of my favorite things was to be waiting for the parade, and as it's the first float coming down, hearing all the guests trying to guess who that was, because no one knew it was the Blue Fairy.
Nope.
And they're all trying to figure out who it was.
I thought it was Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
Well, now it was.
Not in '95.
I will say that for the longest time, I thought it was Aurora, and I didn't really understand why Aurora was at the front of the parade. I was like, what? Why is Aurora leading the parade? I didn't, really notice the wings or pay that much attention. So, and because there was a secondary Pinocchio float, far, far away from her.
Where?
Because
Blue Fairy.
Yeah, because you have Blue Fairy, and then you had much further down. So I felt confirmed in my belief that it couldn't have been the Blue Fairy because you had a different float. Yeah, so that was one of those things.
Everybody, Geo says currently the train in LA. The train's a good float. It's got who drives it? Mickey. And Goofy's there.
Goofy's driving. Mickey's beating the drum.
Yeah.
So, you're saying what happened to his train driving skills between the Electrical Parade and Runaway Railway?
I know. We trusted him to drive down a very narrow street with thousands of people on either side.
And now he can't even.
No, clearly we dodged great trouble for decades. What could have happened?
Do either of you remember the Small World float? I've heard about it. I never got to see it.
I don't remember it. I saw it when Tokyo had a version of it, and I saw that, but I've never seen the Small World float in person. I don't remember when it didn't appear, because from what I recall, it used to finish the parade before the bacon float showed up.
This is a very old picture, so it's from Jeff Lang DVD. Jeff has a video about the appearance of the electrical parade over the years, and he included some images on his website, but they're very small, so that's why it's all pixelated here because it's bigger. But over at jefflangdvd.com, you can see Walt Disney World's Main Street Electrical Parade is what you would search for, and you can see pictures like this one with the it's a Small World. He also has a couple of images of the Fox and the Hound. They had the oversized Widow Tweed's truck that would float. But this is actually my most favorite float. Disappeared a long time ago, and that was
Return to Oz.
No, oh dear, no. The elephant, pink elephant. In fact, that was my screen name on AOL. Was pink elephant. When I met Doobie, that was my. No, that's not good.
Okay.
When I met Doobie, that was actually my screen name. And so,
So where's the Fox and the Hound?
so for the longest time, scroll up a little bit. For the longest time, you call me Pinky. It's very funny.
Yes.
Up a little bit more. Up a little bit more. There you go. See?
Just the car?
Yeah, it was just
wow.
it was Widow Trade's truck.
You know what's missing from this
And
Fox and the Hound
Amos Slade's
float?
truck.
Fox and the Hound.
Well, we all
Well, that was one of the things, like, they did a lot of the promotions of the films, and they would just bring in, well, that was the smallest one. The Return to Oz, like I talked about, actually had a full float, and that was only in there for the 1985 summer season, because then it caught on fire and kind of burnt down.
And in some cases, like the It's a Small World float, it ended its run at Disneyland long before it stopped appearing in Walt Disney World. And another thing that was different about Walt Disney World was they got a holiday version. And I never saw a holiday version at Disneyland.
No, they only did the holiday version at Walt Disney World in Paris, from what I understand. And I've hardly found any information on it through my years of looking.
Yeah, we stumbled on it totally by like totally accidental. We didn't have any idea that was a thing. And I don't remember it being visually.
I remember the music being different.
Yeah, I remember
It was
the music
just
being
the
not like
music.
visually different.
I liked it. I remember liking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made me that experience. Okay, so this is one of those things where I worry about saying, because I'm worried I'm piecing my memories wrong, but
He'll correct you if you are.
No, he can't. My memory is that we experienced that before the It's a Small World holiday happened. And so because I had such a pleasant experience with that, I wasn't as panicked about the notion of It's a Small World holiday.
That's true.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe it was the other way around.
When did
Maybe
Small World
I
Holiday
loved Small
debut?
World Holiday so much that
Year After Light Magic.
So 98?
yeah.
I can't imagine.
I don't have a date.
Oh,
90s.
Yeah. See, I don't.
Maybe.
It depends on whether or not it was our trip,
It could have been our honeymoon trip.
or it could have been the following year. So I don't know.
I
But
think it was our honeymoon
either of
trip.
those, yes. Okay.
We're
there
going
we
to
go.
say pass on that. We're going to give that one a
fine.
ding.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alright.
I'm not conflating memories. Thank
No.
you. Thank you very much.
So can I show a picture that I treasure?
Well,
Yes, dude.
I just wanted to ask Shelly a question, but that's okay.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Shelly, you have a special memory I wanted to introduce because I want you to talk more.
Oh, so on our first trip to Disney World, it was our last night, and we wanted to watch the parade one last time, but my brother was not having it. And so I'm actually at my parents' house, which is why I have a different background. And they keep some of the stuff from when we were younger. And my brother, since he threw a fit, we ducked into the Emporium, and one of like our like things when you were having like a bad day is you would have hot tea. I don't know why. And so I bought a special mug that I could have my hot tea in.
So your special electrical parade memory is getting a mug.
Getting a mug because my brother threw a fit.
That's a beautiful story. These are the dreams that Disney memories are made of. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jeremiah. Your turn.
No problem. So as I've said many times, as a kid, I had a yearly trip to Disneyland. And in 1985, my yearly trip was on my birthday. And 1985 was also a special year for Disneyland. It was their 30th anniversary. And I randomly found this picture.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
No clue, like, you know, we've all heard stories about floats that appeared and disappeared, but this one nobody ever talks about. It was actually the 30th anniversary float.
That's super
Wow,
cool.
no idea.
Wouldn't it be really neat if somebody like added a float to the electrical water pageant that was like a take on this, but for this year's
For 50
celebration?
years.
Wouldn't that be cool? That would be one of those things where you just be like, oh, so epic. I would cry. Because I'm an easy touch. I cry easy.
Yo, Jamel, nice to see you. Well, you look awfully comfortable in that picture,
dude,
Jamel.
Jamel.
I know you, Jamel. You're not that cool.
We missed you, Jamel.
All right. So the parade went on for 25 years, but 24 seasons. It did have 1 year where it took a break. And then finally, Disney decided, you know what, this parade's getting a little long in the tooth. We've got nothing to promote this year. Let's try something. Let's play on the nostalgia of Disney and the Electrical Parade and have a glowing away season where all we're celebrating is the final year of this parade. And my, oh my, does that person need a raise. They shattered attendance numbers that year by removing something. They didn't even add anything. All they said is we're removing something and hyped it all year long. And the attendance was insane. That was the very first time I'd seen them open behind Main Street to let people through the park.
And north too.
Oh yeah, you're right.
They would open a pathway from Small World Mall area behind like Storybook.
Right.
And over to Frontierland. That would dump you off over there.
First time I see these sticks with these like kind of bulbs on them. You know, what are those? Oh,
yeah. The ways
that's where Dopey would rest his head.
You would go by costuming. So you got a little bit.
It's like, where are you going with that, Dopey?
Yeah, no.
That's where Dopey would rest his head.
Yes, that's where he would rest.
We don't have to value the magic here, but we choose to.
And now they've made it so much more. What I don't want to say sterile, but it's way more guest friendly.
Yeah.
When they open like that corridor now, when you're at Walt Disney World and they open up the corridors behind Main Street, you know, they have these beautiful like screens that they pull down so you don't get to peek it. But this, seriously, it was pretty much just they went through and swept and then let everybody.
I think it
was really awkward.
Their one rule is no characters. Other than that, whatever the guests see, who cares?
And they didn't. And as I recall, they were very careful to not allow any photos. At first,
I believe you're right. Otherwise, I would have tons of photos.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I have tons of photos from the other side of Main Street at Disneyland when they started doing that a few years ago. They don't care. Like I was holding up my camera, taking pictures of the stairs going up to Walt. Hey, look, there's the Jungle Cruise break room.
Yeah, but back then it was like really, like I think the only pictures you see are because people were kind of holding something at their hip, clicking as they. There's really weird angles and stuff.
No one was walking through with the Google Glass back then.
Yeah, no, none of that.
So they made a whole deal of all of 1996 basically was dedicated to the final electrical parade. So we're going to look back just for a moment at some of the souvenirs. I can't imagine Jeremiah has any of these things.
No, yeah, none of them.
So
we'll get into my story about the glowing away year.
All right, so but we have some of this here actually.
Yeah, we do.
And
they had the collectible cards that year, and they representing each of the lands, and they also had one for the electrical parade, and it came with the little special card.
And of course, our buddy, we've been showing you this, Rick West, did a special edition of Theme Park Adventure celebrating the parade. That
was mostly an interview with John Dorsey, so it's a lot of information about the development of the parade, especially his role in the music and various elements like that.
And this is long since sold out, so this isn't any kind of hype or anything. But if you can somehow get a hold of one of these and you're a fan of the parade, it's probably the best resource you'll ever find.
Great data in it.
Are we still friends with him? Because maybe we could get the digital and put it up on our site sometime.
Well, you know what? I hadn't thought about writing Rick about that. I'll have to reach out to him.
I had forgotten about this, buddy. So they actually had a video of it. We must have this somewhere. Yes, wow. You guys own this?
Yes. At least 2 copies.
And
that's crazy.
Right? I didn't look before the show. I should.
I know the final Orange County News broadcast is on YouTube, but I don't think that's what this is. This
is different. This is a produced thing from Disney.
Okay, and then this is a commemorative ticket?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from the past, that's the pass holder event.
That's right.
Thing. Hang on, I've got it right over
here. Okay, so for those that remember, in 1996, when this is going away, they announced a closing date, and then they had annual pass holder parties after that closing date, so that the annual pass holders had a special chance to say goodbye. But then they extended the closing date anyway, so that they had a final closing date that was open to the public, November 25th, I believe, 1996.
I did go to one of these annual pass parties because I remember they had Elliott never parked back by Small World, and you could actually go inside Elliott but the lines were like hours long, like 6 hours long. I'm only waiting 6 hours for a cookie at this point.
See, there was all sorts of events going on. You could
I can't.
they had an exhibit called Totally TV, an animation art extravaganza. Which had stuff and you could witness the premiere of Winnie the Pooh and Halloween 2.
Really?
And they had Charles Boyer doing signing your collectible stuff because he did a lot of the art. I think you got one of his watches at the time.
Oh, yes, right,
I
do.
And then they told you where you could eat, but it looks like there wasn't any. They didn't do food back then like they do now in the same way. Now you get like a special cake. And like when it closed at Disneyland this last time around back in 2019, they had like commemorative cakes and Rice Krispie treats and all that. That was just beginning to kind of pop up its head. And let's see. And then you had.
I'm going to show off my watch. Well, this is the watch. It actually has the original date on it of October 17th, the pass holder party, encore performances.
And you got a very small button.
Massive button.
Tiny button to celebrate that as well.
So because you have, never mind.
And look, like even like the menu at Carnation Cafe for the kids, it even had the logo on the front and then the image of Mickey. Like, should I pull a plug or maybe not? By the way, this is one of my most favorite of the promotional, like the event art that they've done in the years. This one of Mickey, like kind of looking at the plug for the electrical parade. I think that's my favorite of them all.
You know what would have made me? What would have made me happy is if when they brought the electric parade back to Disneyland, they actually had like a cartoon or just Mickey walk out, grab the plug, and plug it back in. Just that would have. I wouldn't have never been upset by all the times they did that. They brought it back if they did that.
We're going to get to your gripes. Your gripes.
Sorry,
No, yeah, you were still going. We're going to get to the gripes.
Yeah. And then like what you had like a notepad paper,
But the thing that everyone remembers from that final year, and the thing that made everyone go, "How are they bringing it back? It's impossible." Is they sold the light bulbs for only $10.
You can pull it up there.
I thought you were going to show it.
Well, pull it up there.
For only $10, you could own a genuine, game-used electrical parade light bulb. All proceeds going to charity, of course. This isn't a money grab for Disney. And boy, did people grab these up, including us. No shame in saying that. And it's awesome that we have these light bulbs. And much like Jeremiah's Funko, we never actually take it out of the box. It stays inside there.
Well, it's a display box. See? And we've got, this one is blue. This one is green. That one is pink. And there's a red one in a box somewhere that has yet to be unpacked from our move here
And
7 years ago.
This is definitely one of my proudest Disney souvenirs are these electrical parade that were only $10.
And because I am who I am, I also still have a couple of the forms to buy the bulbs along with the envelope. There was an envelope one too that Doobie shared on there. I still have that too. Because the electrical parade is my pride and joy. They can bring it back as many times as they like. Although I know it's aged, I do understand that Paint the Night is far more enjoyable, upbeat, brighter, and everything. But it's still, I love it. I wish they could have a place for it like electrical water pageant, where it could just continue to exist and exist and exist, and not really be in anybody's way, but just kind of a little, cherry on top of your day.
And
I could not agree more.
So before we let Jeremiah gripe, we're getting there. Go ahead.
My sticker.
I love that sticker. That is one of my favorite things.
But
I probably have 6 of those.
It says Disneyland Electrical Parade, which I always thought was so weird. That's when it came back, right? When they brought it back, didn't they call it the Disneyland Electrical Parade or something strange?
No, it was
Disney Electrical Parade.
Hang on,
the first time.
This is the DCA when it came back in 2002, we always wondered, since it wasn't on Main Street, what they were going to call it. It was just Disney's Electrical Parade.
And if you stayed at the hotel, they gave you a commemorative photo of it, and they had like the Paradise Pier logo at the bottom, and Cynthia Harris signed it, and it said commemorating the return of this beloved tradition in all its shining splendor. And they would pipe in the music, and you could watch the parade from your hotel room.
That's Disney. Okay.
Yeah, the Disney Electrical Parade. Yeah.
Right. Oh, it's fun. So the original run of the parade ended on November 25th, 1996. It was broadcast live on a local cable then, a channel called OCN, Orange County News, which is no longer with us.
No, and it was also, go ahead.
And David Koenig was the co-host there, famed Disney writer, Mouse Tales, Mouse Under Glass, Mouse Tales 2. And
he did a bunch of those books.
Yeah, and did a Florida version.
Reality Land.
Thank you, Reality Land. So I was there back in 1996 with some of my friends. I'm going to show that picture. This is one of my favorite pictures. And again, this is an old picture, so it's slightly pixelated.
Slightly,
but
very
there
pixelated.
I am at the tender age of about 25. My buddy Tim Castro, John Frost of the Disney blog, and 3 other people whose name I don't remember anymore. She was one of the people walking down the street, entertaining people. She was normally a parade cast member, but she wasn't in the final one. We had MSEP painted on us.
They had face painters going down the street.
So as the people would walk by, they would wave. We had MSEP on our forehead. So this is a great memory. You okay there, Shelley?
Look at little Frosty.
I know.
What did she say?
Yeah. Little
I
Frosty.
call him Frosty.
Yep.
That is
No,
little
good.
Frosty.
Yep.
We go way back.
Yeah. They stood me up that night.
I don't believe that's how that
exactly
went.
what happened. They're like, "Hey, Rebecca, we're all going to get together and we're going to be in this spot. This is where we always sit for the parade." And so I got there and I looked for them and they weren't there. So I went and sat with my family where my family always sits because I was at work. My family got there at the park open, sat on the curb all day long, saving a spot for the parade. I got off work. I came and joined them. We were seated in front of the Crystal Palace, the arch. And yeah. And he was someplace else.
The parade ended.
I got stood up.
And we were walking out. And
No. And then the parade. I thought you were going to tell the whole story, so I was going to tell that at the appropriate time.
Now here's the switch that Jeremiah refers to. Paul Pressler and the Boys Club or something, I don't remember exactly, flipped the switch to say goodbye. I think Mickey was there. So, and then of course, go ahead.
Didn't Mickey come out and pull a plug?
I remember the switch. The plug was on the artwork, but I think it was a switch.
No, I almost can swear like everybody. I wasn't there, so I'm just going off.
I
know this is his picture from that night. So this was not in my view.
As Gio said, the whole thing is on Orange County News. So if you pull the plug, it's on YouTube, the original.
Thank you.
So they had a picture spot, final night, November 25th, 1989. This is where it went out. And so literally as the parade comes down Main Street, everybody, right after it passes, you get up, you blend into the crowd, and you just follow it all the way down the street. And then it goes through this door. And then there was some na-na-na-na. And then, yeah. Who knew? It was to be short-lived, but at the time it was goodbye to a classic.
There were lots of tears. There were cigarette lighters. It was really sad. But to get back to the story of how Doobie and I kind of met, was that like I say, I had been told, "Hey, meet us here," and then they weren't there, and then the parade starts moving past me. It's heading out, and I want to be part of the crowd that follows it, and I get up to follow the parade, and I get jostled right into him.
Which has gotta hurt.
Like literally, I literally bumped into Doobie as the parade was passing by on Main Street.
This was before we were together, obviously.
I had just met him like a week or two prior.
This is basically how we met.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeremiah.
So if not for the Main Street Electrical Parade, there would not be a Laughing Place or a Gideon.
Many, many things would not happen. So and I ended up following the parade route with John Frost and with Doobie and singing farewell to the parade and joining in. I think the Mickey Mouse Club alma mater was also sung that night. Yes. And like I say, just lots of tears and farewell. And it was a beautiful, it was wonderful. It was nicely.
This is why you do a big reason why you do annual pass holding is to be able to, that's a weird word, be able to experience something like this where you didn't have to pay $100 to go in the park. You're there just for this event. We got there early. We sat on the curb all day long. We had fun with our friends. It was our hangout.
You guys played Uno.
This was the event of the year. We got our heads painted. We laughed at how different John Frost looked then from how he would in 25 years. And it was just a great day. It's one of the most memorable days of my life, except I don't really remember it because I'm old now. Because this bumping into her thing she mentions, I have no memory of that. So anyway.
You know what? I'm going to throw this off for 1 second. Like, how, like, I don't know if it's weird, but like, how many fandoms have moments like that? Like, I know I've sat on curbs like all day waiting for something, and it just kind of like, you know, it's there, and like you build like a camaraderie around other people. It seems like that's one of my favorite things about the Disney community is that when you love something, you like really love it, and it's like your passion, it's your thing. And it might seem a little weird, but it feels like this is one of the only fandoms that really really jumps onto something and holds on and like passes it on from generation to generation.
Interesting.
It to me, I compare the passionate Disney fan to a passionate sports family, because you'll have that kind of thing with the sports family, right? Where taking junior to, you know, or juniorette to the first game, you know, that's a like a rite of passage, right? And that's how it is for a Disney fan when you first take your kid to a park. It's like a rite of passage, totally. Or as you watch, I mean, for us, and I know it's funny because Disney has expanded, but for this week showing, Gideon watched Raiders of the Lost Ark for the first time. And it felt like a moment. It was funny. It totally felt. It
was a moment. There's no question it was a moment.
Oh, and it was your first time seeing it too.
Yeah.
I'm the only Raiders fan in the family. So
yeah. You like the Raiders?
Yeah. No. But yeah, so it's fun. But no, you're right. That's one of the things that Doobie, especially, I think what drew him into becoming a Disney fan was the way that Disneyland had kind of an old school piazza type vibe to it, where you were all in this common activity and you could easily move in and out of conversations with complete strangers. And it was just one of those delightful things that would happen when you were at the park, when you would be waiting in queue or waiting for a show or in line or just wandering, you know, and you know, grouped somewhere somehow. You ended up having these discussions with people from all over the place and all over the globe. And that, you know, he's total extrovert, and he loved that. I like to just eavesdrop on all that because I'm not the extrovert that he is. And so
we spoke to whom first?
It's just all I said was, "Is your name?"
All I'm saying.
That's all I said was,
what I'm saying.
Your name Doobie?
She came to me.
All I said. Just, it's your name, Doobie. I regretted it. but yeah, that's one of the things that I think, in light of the AP announcement for Disneyland, especially because Disneyland even more so than Walt Disney World, because Walt Disney World is so much bigger that you get more easily lost. I mean, at the height of our annual pass holder experience in like 97, 98, I can think of a group of about a dozen people who, we even invited many of these people to our wedding. If this had happened, we would never have seen them again, because I didn't really know them beyond Disneyland. At all.
And there was no computer in the same way to where they'd be on Facebook or something. We knew them because they came to the park every day.
If they didn't show up at the park,
if one day someone stopped showing up, you just never ever heard from them again.
You just didn't know.
They disappeared.
And so it's this weird thing, and I don't know if it's the same even now as it was then, because like I say, you become friends on Facebook and whatever, so you're still able to have kind of that casual relationship, but yet know each other. But yeah, it's really, really. It's weird to think how different the dynamic of the Disneyland social world will be with whatever comes next. So, because we don't know what that's going to look like yet. So we know that something is coming. We just don't know what it is. Okay, back to the
I know that's kind of.
Sorry, I threw that completely off.
I mean, the annual pass thing is heartbreaking. I know my wife because we were annual pass holders. This is literal. If it weren't for annual passes, I never would have met Rebecca. I never would have had Laughing Place. I never would have met most of the best friends I have in my life. And knowing that possibly, we don't know what's coming, but possibly that dynamic is now gone for the foreseeable future is heartbreaking, fully understandable. I'm not blaming
totally.
Disney.
No.
There's a problem that needs to be dealt with, but still heartbreaking.
It's like I have a better understanding now of why my dad still holds the pain of the Dodgers leaving Brooklyn, or why, what happened with Cleveland and
going to Baltimore
and going to Baltimore and all that. I have a better understanding of how that felt, because I didn't care when the Rams left. So and
you were carrying some Raiders
This deep dive, we dug really deep on that one.
Like we even got, like, they had license plate frames that you could get, and it has the dates on it. There was so much stuff. It's amazing.
We all love Kelly's hair. I think that goes without saying.
Always.
Okay, Doobie.
All right, so Jeremiah, what do you have to say about the closing of the electrical parade?
Do you have the banner? Just go ahead and put it up right now.
Is it a nerd
hold
alert?
on. Is this a nerd alert or a rant?
Here, I'll do it. There we go. So I, just like you guys, that was the height of my annual passness, was during that time. And my girlfriend at the time and we both worked at Universal. Disneyland, we would go from Universal to Disneyland right after work. Spend every day going down there. And when they announced Electric Parade was going away, as I showed, 1985, one of my favorite photos of my birthday is of the Electric Parade in the distance. I would sit every day out there, go see it, love it, and then it's going away. Oh, this is very heartbreaking. I'm very sad. I definitely was ready to cry. The times I saw it, I would definitely get teared up when the announcement would happen. And that beautiful October day of when it was supposed to glow away forever. And as a Californian, the term glow away forever will always haunt me now. Because it was every single radio station, every single commercial, anything about Disneyland was, it's going to glow away, it's going to glow away. Had that date set aside, planned. And it was only like a month or so. It wasn't even before summer when they announced it was being extended. To me, it went from it's a special thing to this is a money grab, and then it just increased more and more and more. I went the official final day. I didn't go. I don't think I actually even went until after it blew away the second time. And the Electric Parade to me was a beautiful thing for that time. And if it blew away forever in 97, fine. I'm good with that. But the fact that every time there's an attendance problem, and nobody can say that this isn't a fact, because DCA 2002, in the height of their lowness, how are we going to fix all this? Let's get the Electric Parade back from Walt Disney World.
Jeremiah, it wasn't even 2002.
2001. Yep. So
5 months after the first opening.
5 months.
Yeah, they were scrambling to get attendance, and they friggin' brought back the Electric Parade.
But just once, and not at Disneyland.
No, and when it blew away from DCA 9 years later, was it 2010 when it blew away? Oh no, it was 2010. Yeah, because they were working on the expansion for everything. And then they shipped it back to Walt Disney World after they destroyed Spectre Magic. Another great parade that, it's not the Electric Parade, but we're going to bring the Electric Parade back to Walt Disney World. Yay! And then it sat here for years and years. And then it went away.
Brought it back to Disneyland.
And then it went away again. And then everything is fine with the world. They do Paint the Night. Beautiful parade.
Amazing parade.
And then 2017. something that was never supposed to happen. The Electric Parade comes back to Disneyland.
I still
But
hard
to be
believe.
fair, Jeremiah, that gave us that amazing commercial.
Yes. Yes. But then, okay, fine. That ran for, hold on, how long did it run the second time? I just had that information up.
I don't have it in front of me.
I want to say it was like a year. Like they kept it pretty short, and it was supposed to be, okay, that's it. And then 2019. Hey, look, folks, here's the parade that was supposed to die almost 2 decades ago.
At least it didn't come back in 2020.
Stop.
We know it's going to come back again. We know this. I am predicting this right now. The only way you can see the Main Street Electric Parade is if you buy a day ticket to Disneyland summer 2022. Because we don't have annual passes and we won't have the membership program, but the only way you can see this dang parade is to buy a one-day ticket.
So funny.
Okay, so yes, that is my...
I will have to say that one of the moments, though, that I was able to have because of that was watching Electrical Parade with Gideon on Main Street in Disneyland. No, but it was one of those things where I like you thought, I loved this parade. I cherish it. Great memories. It's good to go.
Yeah.
I loved Paint the Night. And so when Main Street Electrical Parade came back, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like watching an athlete perform.
Yeah, it's Michael Jordan's returning to play basketball one last time.
Yes, exactly. Or like an Olympic gymnast, 20 years later. It's different now.
I understand Jeremiah being upset if the parade keeps returning. I can understand that. What confuses me is Jeremiah being upset that they extended it for a month at Disneyland. Jeremiah, when you go to a concert and the artist says, "Thank you, good night," and walks off stage, do you leave and get angry if they come back for an encore?
Yes, he does. Clearly.
Yes, I leave. I take my $12 soda, throw it on the ground, and walk out as soon as it's over.
And he just sits out in the car and waits for the rest of his party while the encores happen.
And knowing that he's right.
Okay, so the Main Street Electric Parade blew away in 1996.
Yeah.
So there's a timeline here that's very interesting.
Okay,
We'll be the judge of that.
There were 3 Main Street Electric Parades ever created. Disneyland and Magic Kingdom were 72 and 77.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tokyo Disneyland in 83 had one created.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's 2 in America, 1 in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Disneyland Paris opens, they take the one from Magic Kingdom and ship it over to Disneyland Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one in Disneyland Paris, there's one in Tokyo, and there's one in Disneyland. The one in Tokyo, actually, hang on, we're skipping ahead of something. And this is something that's the glowing away of 96 led to this, these pictures are from my friend Scott, who was actually at this event. This is the Hercules Main Street Electric Parade in New York. In the back is the Chrysler Building. This is the parade coming towards us.
How often did this run?
This was a one-night event. And they actually created these floats. Yes, it didn't glow away. It was just a premiere, a push for the movie to come out. So they actually created, there's Pegasus, Hercules is posing.
I haven't seen video. Do you know if Pegasus wings were articulated or if they were still?
I believe they were articulated. We may actually have an answer from Scott, who was there. It would be nice if he chimed in on that. This one is an amazing one that they created just for one night.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That looks like Hades' Pain and Panic.
It is.
You remember what date that?
Yes, they moved. The wings
You know,
did move of Pegasus.
Very
Hades
good.
also had fire in his hands.
Oh, very
Wow.
cool. Very
If you're
cool.
not sure, it's June 14th, 1997.
Yes, it's right there.
Oh, there's Megara.
Yes.
And
And
this
then
was
the final... Go ahead.
So the premiere of Hercules in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. New York.
And then after this, they put a Hercules parade in the park. Aren't you glad they didn't just bring this down to the park, Jeremiah?
A year would have been fine. Oh, wait, that's right. This would have been right around the time of... But that's a topic for a different show.
Yes.
Because that's an hour topic. So yeah, this parade, this was the end of the Disneyland version of the parade
Mm-hmm.
originally. They shipped it from New York down to Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom shipped the Dumbo floats, the circus, and I believe the pink elephant to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
The Main Street Electric Parade sat at Magic Kingdom for a few years. They shipped it back to Disney California Adventure, where they had to redo the floats almost completely because they were in such bad disrepair. And they also put the Tinkerbell float at the beginning and the sparkles, so throughout the thing you would hear the ring, ring. And it sat there until 2010. Then they moved it back over to Magic Kingdom, where it sat here and did a couple of years. The one that went to Paris when Fantalusion left Tokyo Disneyland, which the Tokyo Disneyland Main Street Electric Parade is still technically there. From what I've heard, parts of the floats are what Tokyo Main Street Electric Parade Dreamlights or Tokyo Electric Parade Dreamlights is. They use some of that. So that parade is still in Tokyo. That never left. The one that was in Magic Kingdom that went to Paris went to Hong Kong for its opening in 2005. And we've all seen the Main Street Electric Parade in Hong Kong videos, right? That's right. It never debuted. They never... They had them out there and they never did anything with them. And the only thing that I've ever heard about what happened to that is it ended up in the bay. Like, it was trashed and they just threw it all away.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow.
So, the
Jeremiah,
one that was... Yes?
this may be the most interesting story you've ever told us.
Oh, thank you. The one that was in Magic Kingdom... post 2010 came back to Disneyland for 2017, sat at Disneyland 2019, and now is in the vault where we're waiting for the next cool commercial to show up.
Very cool.
I feel like I want to have a depth feeling that shows how deep,
I know, right?
and then it would have just broken a new record there.
Yeah. But that is one of my favorite things is the placements of the thing. I also got a message that the swans that were part of the Tokyo
I saw those.
parade went to Paris also.
I saw those. Score one for the international director.
And then,
I have a picture
Fantalusion, which
somewhere.
was a follow-up to the Tokyo Disneyland, went from Tokyo Disneyland to Disneyland Paris.
Jeremiah, when did they do the enhancements to the original electrical parade with the additional kind of light effects that kind of swirled through the whole parade? When were those added?
That was when it came to DCA.
That early, really?
Yeah.
In 2001?
Yeah, because that was when they had the Tinkerbell. That was her big...
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, that was later. Yes, but it was that same one. It was one of the break times
Mm-hmm.
that they
That
put in there.
That was a nice enhancement. I was a big
Yeah.
fan of that. That made it actually worth somewhat bringing it back.
You're so bad. It gave it it gave it a more of a dynamic, because the difference I've always felt between the Electrical Parade and Spectrum Magic. Spectrum Magic had a lot more like movement just of the lights, like and the
Yeah.
transitioning and whatever, and
The floats tied together. They
and
weren't just
the flourish of that was added with Tinkerbell, which I think was closer to the Disneyland's 50th. I think it was closer to that era.
I remember.
Was added that kind of dynamic nature.
Yeah, this took over for the Blue Fairy, and Tinkerbell and her fairy friends were added. They brought in some of the butterfly type wings that were from Spectro, I believe, came over this way, and then they put in I love the lighting for it, but I hated how it disrupted the music because that sparkling part would be louder than everything else.
Yeah, I was not a fan. Duke was a big fan, but I was not a fan.
I'm easy. Bright lights, I'm happy. It's kind of like you and Pyro. So,
okay.
So the Electrical Parade, we'll have a different dig a little deeper for some of these things, but I think it's at least worth mentioning what the offshoots were. So after it ended in 1996, Disneyland was all ready to replace it in 1997 with a huge new spectacular that the whole world was excited about, called Light Magic, I believe it was called. Yes. There's a spectacular journey. There's Jeremiah's shirt for it.
Thank you, Shelley.
So 1997, that debuted. It has a story all its own that we'll say for another day. Let's just say it debuted in 1997. It closed in 1997.
Ooh, can I read a little bit of Don Dorsey's kind of prophetic thing here?
Oh, please.
Just for a moment.
Especially if it's prophetic.
It's a little bit prophetic.
Because this was written before. This was 95. So
yeah, hang on. Oh, I'm not going to find it. Oh wait, here we go. It says. It says. And now, see what they've done? They've created their own problem. If they'd simply come out and said, and now we have a parade for you, we have a new thing, without this whole business of the electrical parade going away, yada, yada. It says, if they love it, it pays off big. But if they don't, it'll be worse. They amplify their success or they amplify their failure.
And what a failure it was.
I was reading that today going, oh, wow, considering what happened to Light Magic.
I mean, yeah, the irony is they built up the final season of Electric Parade so much, created so much love and nostalgia for it, that they almost inevitably doomed whatever it was to follow it, no matter how great it was. And then as it turned out, it was something that wasn't, by most people's esteem, great in any way. So, ouch. But anyway, and then what are some others, Jeremiah? I know Dreamlight, Fantalusion. What are some other offshoots of the Electrical Parade?
Spectrum Magic was the original that was at Magic Kingdom out here, which really took the basic Main Street Electric Parade and amplified it. That's when they started with the LED lights, the floats that transformed. Like my favorite was the Night on Bald Mountain would come down and then it would stop, and then Chernabog would open up the wings. And it looks like I'm seeing 09 was when they added Tinkerbell.
Thank you, Gio.
For Summer Night-tastic. That makes sense.
Which was those pictures that we had for Rebecca was Summer Night-tastic.
Yeah, Spectrum Magic, the Tokyo Fantalusion, which was a completely unique parade that would transform from good to evil. And that parade, after running a couple of seasons at Tokyo, went to Disneyland Paris, where it was toned down quite a bit, and then Disneyland Paris kind of just passed off. I don't even think that they really had a night parade after the last Fantalusion run. Tokyo Disneyland, of course, has Tokyo Disneyland Electric Parade Dreamlights, which is just spectacular. We have a great video of that on our YouTube channel to definitely watch. And we even have a couple other videos that are fun for the Electric Parade and that type of stuff. And then pretty much Paint the Night, which started in Hong Kong Disneyland and then came out to Disneyland out here and then was expanded to include a Frozen float, which was really the first time, I think, since the Electric Parade that something had been added that quickly to a nighttime parade, because it was, I want to say, even the following season, but we all know Frozen kind of took over everything anyway.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. I loved Paint the Night. I don't know how you guys felt, but Paint the Night I just really adored.
I thought
it was great.
Do you think that now, with the popularity of things like the castle magic memories, the new type projection mapping stuff, do you think because of that we might not see nighttime parades at Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, I don't think. I think Shelley and I both had this conversation after the last time the Electric Parade disappeared here. it's just, Disney. I'm surprised Disneyland could even do Paint the Night, because I was out there a couple of times when it first started, and just trying to get around the park. I mean, we always had the problem with starting an electric parade glowing away, where it would be a dead standstill. But I remember trying to get from Small World Mall anywhere in the park during Paint the Night. It was so crowded you couldn't do it. And Magic Kingdom, we have people, when the fireworks were going, they'd be camping out in the hub hours before, and the parade route, I mean, they stopped running the Main Street vehicles during midday just because the traffic is so bad on Main Street here.
Yeah, I think too with Walt Disney World, especially with having all the Fast Pass Plus options, and when you have the Max Pass out in California, I think having those kind of appointments kind of keeps people moving. And it's like Jeremiah and I were talking about how when you sit, everything else will kind of be stagnant. So I think that's definitely the reason we won't see one coming back.
I sure hope you guys are wrong. I know there's logistical issues, but I mean, the nighttime Magic Kingdom park, meaning Disneyland, Magic Kingdom, Tokyo, whatever, but the nighttime parade down Main Street is just such a rite of passage. It's so iconic. Figure out a way. They've got the openings behind the streets now. That's got to make it easier. But the thought that those won't come back is really sad. Even though I'm barely watching.
It's definitely sad. I know that they use a lot of those side roads for a lot of their, not side roads, but little walkways on the sides for a lot of their VIP engagements as like the tours, not only just events, but they do use them very regularly for the tours. And I wish it would come back. I mean, there's nothing like having something like that go on in Magic Kingdom. It's just like that extra little dose of magic before you go out back into the real world to kind of carry you over to your next visit. But everything's become so structured and so crowded that it's just like those moments and those times seem to get lost in the mix.
Well, it's like when Tapestry of Nations used to take over World Showplace Lagoon, right? World Showcase Lagoon, sorry. And now it's hard to. World Showplace is a different place.
The Tapestry was a parade.
Yeah, and it would take
around
the lagoon. Yeah. Right. And like now you try and envision that with the various festival booths and all the things that are going on, and it's just like you see that there really isn't a place to do that in that way anymore. But I can still remember the visual.
Well, I'm confused.
Standing on the lagoon and you could look all and just see the pageantry, all around.
Park attendance though is not appreciably bigger on any given day. I realize throughout the year as a whole it's bigger, but on any given day, Disneyland's not more crowded now than it was 15, 20 years ago. It still has, it's 70,000, 60,000 people or whatever. There's not that many more people in the park. Why can't they do it?
No, it has grown by attendance because every time a major attraction opens, that increases the attendance.
Okay, but the reason it increases the attendance is because they have a place to put the people in line for the attraction.
But now we have more people who are trying to line a parade route that isn't changing.
No one's leaving Galaxy's Edge to go ride the parade, watch the parade.
But yes, they are, because if you create something that
extend the parade route through Galaxy's Edge.
Well, if you want to talk about trying to find a way, now you're dealing with a different conversation.
We found a solution.
I don't think that's. But if you want to talk about ways to expand the parade route, well, now we're having a different conversation.
Yes, Jeremiah.
So we neglected to talk about the follow-up to the Main Street Electric Parade at Disneyland.
That would be.
Do either of you remember the nighttime parade that happened in 1998?
The really, really beautiful one that was full of incredible pageantry and had a dragon that would parade down the street?
Yes, Mulan.
It's not a nighttime parade. It's a parade that runs at night.
It ran at night, which was bizarre.
No, totally different thing.
But they touted it as a nighttime parade because they put the lights and everything. Like they made costumes that had lights in it.
It was beautiful.
Mark my words. I
love that parade.
I will never contradict this. The Mulan parade is the most underrated thing in the history of Disney parks.
To be adored.
Oh, I have to find a video of it.
The warriors were so awesome.
The warriors coming down Main Street, and then they had an enormous. It was like Mushu, but if Mushu was realized as the Great Wall of China, but as like a traditional Chinese dragon. So you had people underneath the tarp and it had a head of Mushu, but the whole thing was like a wall, the Great Wall of China, with figures on top of it, like puppet figures that looked like they were fighting, like jousting, like not jousting, but like combat. It was so gorgeous.
And he had a waffle.
And there was this enormous. They had to like remove for Christmas time. They couldn't have
Doobie meet donkey, donkey meet Doobie.
for Christmas time. They had to make changes to the way they had the Christmas decor because they had elements of. They had these enormous like sun. If they have a party at night over by the beach club and they hang those enormous lanterns, they use those in the parade as like suns.
Giant night suns.
And they would just travel.
Way
They would,
up in the
and so
air.
they would illuminate the parade as it would. It was so beautiful.
But it was higher than the roof.
Yeah, no, it's one of my more favorite parades because it was just visually so striking.
And the fact that it ran it came after Hercules.
Well, and parts of it went to Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Parts of it went to studios.
That was a great parade.
But there was something about the way, Disneyland, because it's a little bit smaller in scale, the parades there there's a different kind of intimacy to it. Because like even the electrical parade feels different on the scale of Main Street at Disneyland versus the scale of Walt Disney World's Main Street. Because the Magic Kingdom, the buildings are a percentage bigger, the street is a percentage wider, so you kind of lose the effect of the parade. It's different.
Oh.
But yeah.
JeffKellerPhotography.com has a bunch of the parade floats from Disneyland. So definitely head over there. He's got some other great stuff on there, but I just found these.
You said it's JeffKellerPhotography.com?
Correct.
Okay. No, I just wanted to be sure I got it.
Oh, that's right. Just don't mistype that URL. You never know where you'll end up.
Yeah, but no, it's really. It's a fun time. And there was this one. Okay, so I created this whole bit of lore among my friends because there were these ornate dolls that were part of the parade. If you see pictures of those, Jeremiah, they look like enormous. They were puppets, but they just look like enormous porcelain dolls that would come down the street, and they were disturbingly lifelike in the way that they looked. And isn't that beautiful?
That's just crazy.
And it was puppeteered, so his head would move. I think his eyelashes blinked. I can't remember for sure. I may be adding that to it, but I know that they could like pivot his head, lower his head, so they could do that. That motion a bit with his head. So cool.
Great parade.
Such a great parade. I'm glad you mentioned that, Jeremiah.
Yeah, seriously, Jeremiah.
That's a good memory.
I'm still looking.
Didn't they have was that the one with pole climbers as well, or were pole climbers only with Lion King? Pole climbers only.
It's hard to climb a
pole climbers in the DCA opening parade.
As I think, but the ones I was thinking of must be from Lion King that I'm thinking of because it stopped. Couldn't really have pole climbers with a parade that doesn't stop. And Mulan didn't stop. Mulan was a true processional, right?
Yes.
Yes.
This
is the picture that I didn't even remember until I just saw this.
Oh, wow.
Mulan would be up top. And see, and there's that enormous sun in the background. And you'd have these, like I say, it was pageantry. It was amazing. Really beautiful parade.
It was. Magic Happens is a pretty good nighttime parade.
Yes, that's right, Gio. I'd forgotten they perform that one at night. That is true. And it has screens, so it's even a better experience in some ways at night because it has illuminate the backdrops for some of the floats are illuminated screens.
Speaking of screens, Light Magic.
We're gonna have to do it a little deeper on Light Magic.
I think maybe we should do that next time.
It has amazing music.
I think it's a natural to do that for our next show, just to blend them together.
Yep.
Anything else?
Thank you. Now I have a week notice. Okay, I should be able to unpack all my Light Magic stuff.
We'll do it eventually. Not next week. We'll plan that one out because there's a lot to unpack there in more ways than one.
We have to work through some issues first.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say, Shelley? I don't know. I just have such fond memories of this. I mean, it's one that I watched when I was little, and it was so lovely to have it come back when Zoe was little. It's truly just one of those things that, I know with Jeremiah, we joke a lot when we go, if not for, but it really was that if not for one of the bigger ones in Disney history, in my opinion.
Yep.
Very true.
Yeah,
so many things. Parade, the computerization of the parade zone.
And if you say a Disneyland parade to the most casual Disney parks fan, the only one that they will come up with is the Main Street Electrical Parade. Yes, because it will never die, but it is also, it does give us the basis of most of the parades that we enjoy now today.
Rainy Day California. I know that's the one that just rolled off my tongue.
And the thought that they're gone, as you guys just talked about, which I'd never even considered, is now going to make me cry. So thanks, y'all. Anything else you want to say, Ryan?
No, dear.
No, see, Jessica comes in with the wisdom.
As much as I have loved the Main Street Electric Parade over the years, it needs to go away permanently. We need to move on.
It needs to let us go, right?
Speak for yourself. No, I agree. It needs to go.
It needs to let us go.
I wish Light Magic had been a success so much.
Yeah, me too.
What would the world have been if Light Magic had had a 20-year run? Which would be over by now, which is scary. But how different would the world have been?
I'll be Irish dancing.
Let's wait. Let's just wait till that episode.
Jeremiah's an Irish dancer.
And we would be pixies. We would love pixies even more than we do. We are all pixies.
Ew. All right. I guess that's it for today.
Oh, for those of you who are joining us late in this thing, this is called Dig a Little Deeper. We take a Disney subject and we dig just a little bit deeper.
Although today,
Jeremiah took us to the core.
Way deep.
But we share our favorite memories of it, memorabilia, a little bit of history. So, stop by. This week was about Main Street Electrical Parade. Other times we've chatted about Space Mountain. We've chatted about Country Bear Jamboree. Often Jeremiah will regale us with stories of his trips to experience these attractions in other lands around the world. So, yeah, lots of fun. So
yes, that is one of my favorite Main Street. It was on one of the Disney CDs where all the different pop bands. I know Bare Naked Ladies isn't a pop band, but did the covers, and that's one of my favorite because they make fun of some of the floats and everything. We didn't even talk about all the different floats.
No. So if you want to join Laughing Place to discover more about, we have lots of different programs here where we share our love of all things Disney. So you can like and subscribe this stream. You'll get a notification when we go live. I know tomorrow at 4:00, a group of us will be discussing are we doing it tomorrow?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think
with we discuss Disney parks news, and so we go over what the latest headlines are, and on Tuesday and Saturdays we have trivia, and most days of the week around 9 a.m. you will find one of our team coming to you live from inside a theme park on the East Coast or some sort of themed entertainment offering that's available to us on the West Coast. So all things, that's what we do.
We're doing it on Tuesday.
Oh, we moved. Oh, okay, it's moved to Tuesday.
Holiday,
yeah, no, I wasn't sure. Okay, so Tuesday. Cool.
There's one more thing I want to say about this thing. What, Jeremiah?
We're not doing Parks Talk tomorrow?
No, we're doing it Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Tomorrow's a holiday.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is off the air talk. I wanted to say one more on the air thing. My favorite cover of Main Street Electrical Parade Royal Countdown is the one featured in Light Magic.
We will get into that.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Shelley, for your wonderful contributions on the Go at MCO. Thank you, my wife. Nice to sit next to you for an hour plus. Yep. Thank you, Jeremiah, for showing off that shirt and your deep knowledge of the subject matter. And thank you, Doobie, for starting this whole thing more than 20 years ago. Bye, everybody.